Tragedy had befallen the kingdom of Amoka. The great king Igwe Okoro had passed away sadly in the night. The news spread like wildfire through the village, leaving the people in a state of mourning. The loss of their beloved king was a blow to their hearts, but it was not the only challenge they faced. Amoka was a village deeply rooted in ancient traditions. Despite the civilization that thrived in neighboring communities and cities, while the world around them changed, Amoka held steadfast to the ways of the old, and so the people now faced the daunting task of laying their king to rest in accordance with the customs and tradition of their land. According to the tradition in Amoka, when a king died, he was never to be buried alone. Instead, he was to be accompanied by 7 young virgin maidens from the kingdom on the 7th day. It was believed that these virgins, being pure and connected to the divine spirit, would help facilitate the king's transition into the spirit realm and guard the realm and the kingdom. Deep within the lush African village of Amoka lived a very beautiful young maiden named Amara. She was the only child of her parents and the apple of their eyes. They longed for the day that their daughter would get married and give them grandchildren to expand their family. But Amara had bigger dreams. She yearned to see the world outside the confines of the village of Amoka. Uche, Amara's childhood sweetheart, had been to the city and told her all about the wonders and the differences of life beyond Amoka. He brought her books and taught her how to read them. Amara fell in love with those books, and in her mind, she would picture herself in a big city. She prayed that someday she would marry Uche and they would start a family together in the bustling city. Unfortunately, Amara's dream for a better life outside the village of Amoka was abruptly cut short when she was chosen as one of the 7 maidens to be buried with the dead king. It was a devastating blow to her hopes and aspirations. Amara sat under the big cashew tree in the compound with Uche when 2 palace girls arrived and delivered the sad news. Tears welled up in her eyes as she thought about her life, her dreams, and everything she held dear. She pleaded with Uche to fight for her, their love, and the future they envisioned together. But as the girls took her away, hope seemed to slip through her fingers. The girls led Amara into a room in the palace where the other 6 virgins were kept. They were to remain there until the 7th day, when the king would be buried. Amara would cry from morning till night, praying to the gods to save her from this cruel fate. On the 7th day, the entire village gathered in the palace to witness the royal burial. The 7 virgins were lined around the grave, ready to accompany the king to the great beyond. The chief priest performed the necessary rituals, and it was time for the 7 virgins to enter the grave. But then a loud cry echoed through the air. It was Uche approaching with a group of human rights activists from the city. Determined to save the love of his life, Uche had traveled to the city in search of help. Having seen life outside of Amoka, he knew that the tradition of burying virgins alive with dead kings was highly unacceptable. He had sought the assistance of human rights activists who were shocked to hear of such barbaric tradition. The activists were ready to help Uche and save the virgins. They followed him back to Amoka, determined to challenge this unbelievable tradition. They comforted the chief priest, explaining that what he, the elders, and the entire village were about to do was a mass murder and a violation of human rights. They emphasized that the chief priest would face imprisonment for this act. This enlightenment opened the eyes of everyone in Amoka, realizing that their tradition of burying kings with virgins was not only wrong but inhumane. From that day forward, the ritual was abolished and the 7 virgins were saved from their tragic fate. The king was buried alone like every other ordinary man. The human rights activist established a foundation in Amoka called Save the Virgins. Its purpose was to protect the rights of every young girl in Amoka. Through this foundation, girls were taught their rights and had to live with dignity in the society. They were given access to formal education, empowering them to create a better future for themselves. Amara, having been chosen as one of the 7 virgins, was made the president of the Save the Virgins Foundation. She dedicated her life to fighting for the rights of young girls in Amoka and beyond. 3 years later, she married Uche, and together they relocated to the city. She would visit the village from time to time, enlightening young girls about their rights and encouraging them to dream big. Amara and Uche's union was blessed with 3 children, and they lived a happy and fulfilling life.